Thank you for staying with us here on the AM Report. Well, the Proteas landed at the OR Tambo International Airport yesterday after what was an uninspiring World Cup at the T20 World Cup in Australia. And there has been questions over the future of the team and what happens now. And this has been an all too familiar space, all too familiar feeling for South African cricket fans who have tournament after tournament on the international stage faced disappointment when it comes to the Proteas. And a man who is in charge of a lot of things at Cricket South Africa, he's the director of cricket there, Enoch Nkwe, joins us now via our Zoom line. Enoch, thank you so much for your time this morning. One of the things you stressed at the airport yesterday was the need to move on. I think you called it resetting the button and not necessarily dwelling on the past. But I think we can both agree that the nation needs some sort of explanation after what happened in Australia.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Thanks for having me on the show. Yes, I mean, look, I think it's pretty obvious in terms of what happened, which is very, very disappointing. Yes, we are going to be conducting an internal review in terms of what actually transpired, looking at where we extremely went wrong, and besides the results, what led to actually resulting in that manner, and how do we actually move forward? As much as yes, there are already plans in place, but we need to take a deep in terms of what needs to be done internally and help the future generation and obviously the current players moving forward, as we don't have a lot of time because of the amount of obviously matches that lie ahead, the tournaments, the ICC tournaments. Every single year we're going to be having that, so there isn't much turnaround. I mean, if you look at next year already, there's a World Cup. The main World Cup is end of next year, so it's like literally 12 months away. So we got to make sure that we put the proper systems and structures in place to ensure that we give ourselves the best chance to actually win the World Cup.
And I'm glad you mentioned some reasons, a review looking at some of the reasons for the disaster that we saw on Sunday in Australia, in Adelaide. And one of the things, of course, there's a lot of things that people have thrown into the hat, the boardroom matters, the SJN issues. But one of the things is Coach Mark Boucher and his resignation on what I can call the eve of the tournament. It was in September when Mark Boucher announced his resignation as head coach of the team. With the benefit of hindsight, was it a good idea? Was it advisable to go to the World Cup with a coach who's 1 foot out?
Yeah, look, I mean, knowing him, I don't think he had 1 foot out. I would say that he was fully committed because he is someone that he wants to do well. He wants to do well. He always wanted to do well for the country, as much as obviously he's had to go through a lot, and obviously with the team, etc. But I mean, this was a grand opportunity, obviously, to bid farewell with a trophy. So he saw it, as an opportunity to basically, it's almost like thanking the South Africans, with a trophy. And unfortunately, didn't go down as planned. And but one thing I would say from my understanding, from what I know, is that he was fully committed to this. So else, I mean, he would have basically stepped away and allow somebody else, to take the team forward. But he totally believed that, he would actually help the team, to the finals and actually win the World Cup. So that's like I said, that's what I know, and that's what I believed as well.
It's interesting to me, Enoch, that you say that all the roses that you're throwing at Mark Boucher's feet at this moment, because the flip side of the coin is whether Mark Boucher overstayed his welcome, whether he should have long gone. I know the charges were dropped against him over the racist allegations earlier this year, after some damning allegations against him. But should he have long gone and given someone else the post long before the World Cup?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously there were decisions that were made behind the scenes. The board made those decisions, so I can't really comment much on what actually transpired as I only took over, only 3-4 months ago as a director of cricket, where I needed to ensure that we put plans in place, we put systems in place in line with our road to 2027 World Cup, but also obviously looking at opportunities before that, in how do we actually put out the best team to win those World Cup leading up to 2027, but both obviously more men and women. There's a lot happening, but in terms of what transpired before me, that was a board decision, and we gotta respect that and put it behind us, and that's what as a nation, as an organization, we had to do and move forward. And I must say that I must commend the team, through all these tough times, both in all formats. I mean, the team has actually responded well. It wasn't easy for the team.
Sorry to come in there, Enoch. You have been director of cricket, like you say. You were appointed not too long ago, about 3 months or so. But it wasn't your first time being inside Cricket South Africa. In fact, you were Boucher's assistant last year. When you stepped down, you said, and I'm quoting you, you said the team environment had been contaminated. What does that mean? Are you glad to see the back of Mark Boucher? What did you mean when you said the team environment had been contaminated? By whom?
Did I say that?
You said it. It's a direct quote.
I've never spoken to the media about it.
A statement was released, Enoch, and you were quoted in that statement.
The only thing I've spoken to is the board, and that's what I did. Spoken to the board in terms of how do we help the team move forward, how do we better the team to perform better. So what actually got out, that didn't come out of my mouth, unfortunately. So yeah, I've always been professional in terms of my dealings, in terms of how I do things. And I've always believed that, whatever that needed to be done to be improved, it needs to be obviously dealt with internally. What actually went out, I mean, there were a whole lot of things I read from being a Cons boy, which, it really boggled my mind, to all sorts of things. So I don't know exactly what to believe, but I know exactly what I said. And look, at the end of the day, what we did internally, it did actually improve, and I was happy to see the team obviously performing better. Unfortunately, obviously, with the recent World Cup, it was very disappointing.
It's unfortunate you don't remember saying that, Enoch. And what I actually wanted to know is whether you are glad to see the back of Mark Boucher. But let's move on from that. Have you had any conversations with Themba Bavuma about his future, personally?
No, not yet. I'll be having obviously one-on-ones as part of the review, with the players, with the management team as well. In the next week, I need to obviously allow the captain himself. I mean, he's gone through a tough time, having to try and lead the team well. And look, he did a good job, in leading the team. And obviously, he himself is, very disappointed with his own performances. But I mean, those things happen. One thing I must say, I must take my hat off to him is, even through the challenging times, he did put the team first. He did his utmost best to lead the team well. And right now is to give him some space. Obviously, he's still reflecting, he's still processing all of, what actually happened on Sunday. And after next couple of days, I'll touch base with him. And I think it's important now that, we do give him some space and let him reconnect with the close ones, his family, friends, and switch off a little bit from the game as well. And by the time I actually touch base with him in the course of next week, then we can actually have a more in-depth conversation.
Following that loss and subsequent exit from the World Cup, there was also hints of some of the senior players quitting the national team, or possibility that going into the future they might call time on their international cricket playing careers. Is there any such ideas? Have you heard anything from some of the players?
No, not at all. Hence, I say that maybe I'll hear something next week. I don't know. I don't know which players are actually thinking of. Obviously, moving on from international cricket. Obviously, it will be very disappointing. For me, it's important that touching base with the players. I want full commitment because we have big plans. We have so much opportunities, in the next coming years. So I need players that are going to be fully committed to representing our country. I don't need players that, are in between. So, and those are some of the, look, if one or two players, decide that they want to move on, then so be it. We respect that decision. We have a big pool of players that are hungry to play for South Africa. So all I'm looking for from my position is that, players that want to do well for South Africa, that are fully committed, want to represent the badge very, very well.
Enoch Nkwe, Director of Cricket at Cricket South Africa. So much to talk about, so little time. We can only hope for the best going forward. Malibongwe Maketa will be taking interim charge of the team, ironically, on the Australian tour that's coming up in December. 3 test matches there. Good luck to the team and good luck for the future. We're hoping that by next year we'll be talking a very, very different story. Thank you so much for your time this morning.